Okay, so yesterday we talked about using sine law to solve for oblique triangles. And we remember oblique triangles are triangles that are not 90 degrees. Okay? So remember that word. Oblique means triangles that are not 90 degrees. So oblique triangles are triangles that are not 90 degrees, or are not right angle triangles. Now, we talked about the sine law, and we said we can use the sine law if I'm given two angles in any side, or if I'm given two sides and an opposite angle. The other law that we can use with oblique triangles is called the cosine law. Okay? Now, I'm not going to come to the, we're not going to do the first page. We're not going to figure out how did they came up with this formula. I'm just going to give you the formulas, and we're going to see how we're going to use these formulas. Okay? So the formulas will be given to you in on the formula sheet for the test and exams. Okay? So you don't need to memorize them, but you need to know which formula to use. Okay? So all the formulas, including Pythagorean theorem, SOHCAHTOA, the sine law, cosine law, the different versions of it will be given to you. Okay? So we're going to start with this page. Cosine law can be used in two scenarios. The first scenario, if I'm looking for a side, okay, so I'm looking for a side when two contained angle, which means the angle between the two given sides, are given. So for me to be able to use the cosine law, I need to have two sides and the contained angle, so the angle between them. If I don't have that scenario, I cannot use the cosine law. Okay? So any two sides and a contained angle, then I can solve for the third side. Okay? The other scenario is if I have all three sides, so if they give me all three sides, then I can solve for any of the three angles. Okay? I always find it easier to determine if I need to use the cosine law. And if not the cosine law, then I know I'm going to have to use the sine law. Okay? I always look at, do I have two sides in the contained angle? Then I have to use the cosine law. Or do I have all three sides? Then I can use the cosine law. And if it's not any of these two cases, then I know that to use the sine law. This is me. I prefer looking at cosine law first, then figuring it out sine law. Now, here are the formulas. So if I'm looking for, just look at something here. So if I'm looking for the side, okay, the formula says a squared equal to, so if I'm looking for side A, so let's say this is angle A, angle B, angle C, and I'm looking for side A, right? Because side A is the one across from angle A. What would I know? Which sides would I know? What do we call this side? B, and then this is side C. So if I'm looking for A squared, it's going to be B squared plus C squared, because I already know B and C, minus 2BC cosine angle A. Okay? So ABC here, they're different than the ABC in the Pythagorean theorem, okay? Because we're not talking about rectangle triangle. So, I know B and C, and I know angle A, right? I'm looking for side A, so my formula is A squared equal B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine angle A. And that's why it's called the cosine law, is because you have to take the cosine of the angle given. Okay? So the formula can be written with any letters. So if your triangle is LMN, you can change it to LMN. Okay? Now let's figure out how would the formula be, or what would the formula be if I have, let's say, angle B, angle C, and angle A. And let's say they give me angle B. Okay, which two sides they have to give me? They have to give me side A, and they have to give me side C, right? Because I need two sides and a contained angle. Okay? What side would I be looking for?
B.
Be looking for side B. Okay, and what would my formula look like? B squared equals
A squared plus C squared minus.
it's always going to be minus 2 AC, because these are the one that's given to me. Cosine B. Okay? Now what if I have this? What if they give me angle B? So what two sides they must give me? They have to give me side B, and they have to give me side A. And I'll be looking for side C, right? And my formula would be?
Equals A squared
Yep.
plus B squared
Mm-hmm.
minus 2AB
Mm-hmm.
cosine A C, whatever that means.
C. It has to be always your letter here, like the side and the angle, they correspond to each other. Okay? So again, the reason why I showed you the first one and I asked you to come up with the second one is because what if I, instead of giving you ABC, I tell you you have LMN, right? And I give you this one, and I give you this one, right? Then you have to know that, okay, I'm looking for side N, right? And it's going to be N squared equal to L squared plus M squared. It doesn't change, minus 2LM cos N, right? So it doesn't change if I change my letters. Does that make sense? So that is if I have the two sides and the contained angle, and I'm looking for the other side. Now, what would be my formula if I have all three sides and I'm looking for an angle? So what happened is they will rearrange for this part. So they will rearrange to find, if you know all three sides, you will have to rearrange for this part because that's the one that contains the angle, okay? And then to do that, you're going to have to move these over, and then you're going to have to divide by this. So the formula is already given to you at the bottom here, okay? So we're going to write them together on the board. So again, I'm going to write the first one, and then you're going to kind of come up with the other ones, okay? So if I'm looking for cosine A, it's going to be B squared plus C squared minus A squared over 2BC. Okay? So it's going to be B squared plus C squared minus A squared over 2BC. So always, these two are going to correspond. So this angle right here, and whatever you're subtracting, right, they're going to correspond. Yes?
When it says 2BC, like would you just multiply 2 times the side length?
Yeah. 2 times B times C. So what would be for cosine B?
C squared
Okay.
plus B squared
No. A squared plus C squared minus
A squared.
D squared over subtracting, they're gonna correspond. They're gonna have the same length. Cosine C. It's gonna be a squared plus b squared minus c squared over 2a. Okay, you see that in this example right here, I need to know side A, side B, and side C, right? So I need to know all three sides in order for me to be able to solve for that part. Okay, so let's look at, so if I look at example 1, I have, what do I have? Two sides and they contain A. See, it's easy. It's easy to see that, right? So, I'm looking to find side B. So I'm looking to find this side. What do we call this side?
Side A.
This is side C. So I'm looking to find side B. What formula do I use? B squared equal, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Yeah? And now I have to plug in my numbers. So b squared equals to a squared, that's 20 squared, plus 25 squared, minus 2 times 20 times 25 cosine 48. So, putting this in the formula, that's great. Now, putting it in the calculator is important. You either put it all together in the calculator. Okay, if you have a straightforward calculator, you can put it all together. Or you're going to have to calculate this and write it down, calculate this and write it down, and calculate this whole thing all together and write it down.
What is it with the bracket?
2.
That's a 2?
Yeah. It's 2.
No, underneath.
It's 2. It's coming from this formula. Okay? So I recommend that you put it all together in the calculator and find the answer. And I got b squared is equal to 355.87. Is that my side length? I have to square root because this is b squared, right? So I need to square root the answer in order for me to be able to find my answer. And side length is to how many decimal places? 1 decimal place. So that's going to be 18.9. So what I have to do is I have to square root to find b, and then you're going to get 18.9, and then centimeter because I know the other ones are in centimeter. we have 3 sides. Since I have all 3 sides, that means I can use cosine law, right? Now, to use cosine law, I have to do, it's asking me to find angle A, right? So that tells me that I have to find angle A, which means I'm going to use the cosine A formula. Okay? This is side A, this is side B, and this one is side C. So cosine A is equal to what? B squared
plus C squared
plus C squared
minus 2
minus A squared over 2BC. Okay. We're going to enter the numbers. So B is 38 plus 26 squared minus 30 squared over 2 times 38 times 26. Again, this is one very, very tricky one. So unless you know how to enter it in the calculator properly and do the fraction, actually enter it like this. If you enter it as a fraction, then I would recommend that you put it all together in the calculator. If you don't know how to put the fraction, I want you to find the answer for the top, the answer for the bottom, then do the division. Okay? So this is what you should get if you put it all together, or if you find the answer at the top and then find the answer at the bottom and then divide. Okay? So try it on the calculator, see which one you know how to do on your calculator. Is this my final answer? No. I'm looking for angle A, right? So what I have here is cosine A. So what do I need to do to find angle A? Cos inverse, yeah. And your answer should be to the nearest degree. So I got 52 degrees. Okay? So the two scenarios is either I have 2 sides and the angle between them, the contained angle, or I have all 3 sides and I'm looking for an angle. Okay? So what I want you to do right now is get into your groups from yesterday, or new group, doesn't matter, and try the word problem question